Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Park and Recreation Commission meeting. Let's see. All the commissioners are present except Victor, who has an excused absence. And I'm doing the pledge. So would everyone please stand and join me? Happy New Year. I can still say that. It's still January. Yes. So, public comments? Aha. Huh?
No, it's for
Whispering Hills, I think.
yeah, it's Whispering Hills about the community garden.
I think he would go under
Oh.
item 3. Otherwise,
Oh, okay.
yeah. And then, what's this? There's a child. Great.
Mm-hmm.
We have no public comments other than for item number 3. So we go on to the approval of the minutes.
Sure, everybody gets their turn at the microphone. All right, there are no presentations. Minutes. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? I'm going to say that's a yes. All right. So, what do you think we have to do? I know. Oh.
I'm going to move back. This mic doesn't.
Oh. Doesn't work?
It's in pieces.
Oh. All right, we have a technical difficulty for a minute.
I'm just going there. The buttons are in place.
I thought we
Well-
did that on purpose, actually. Speed the meeting up. Yeah.
You will pay for
Sorry,
that.
I got to stop. All right, I apologize.
But the Lone Ranger and the wind. And
All right. So, as we say at work, would you put in a help checking on the microphone over here? Well, no, it's like the buttons come off and
the thing's under press.
anyway.
There you go. Keep it out.
All right, do we need a motion to approve minutes? Somebody can help me out. All right, comments. Does Jim have comments?
I have no comments at this time. See?
See? All right,
But I will
so,
make up later. So.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second?
all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we're good, we passed. Hooray. All right, on to selection of the chair and vice chair. Yes.
I'd maybe like to propose that we postpone until next meeting when Victor's back for the nomination. Yeah. Yes.
All right, is there any discussion? Sorry. Is there any discussion? Did you have a second? Wait, you're making a proposal?
I'm just saying, maybe
Oh.
put that up for discussion, I guess, since Victor's not here. Should we? I guess my question is, can we table the item, and of course I'd like to hear what you guys think, until the next meeting, and that way Victor will be here, we can all vote or what have you.
Gary, what are your thoughts on this?
Of course you could table it, but right now you have one person, one commissioner that's in favor of that. You need more than one commissioner. Or you can vote.
And actually, I'm okay with it either way. I just thought since he wasn't here, it might not be a bad idea.
Did he? I know he wasn't missing. Did he express desire either way to be a part of it? That he
Not
wasn't?
during the conversation I had. We had a conversation one day at, trying to think it was when we did that thing with the photo shoot up at Heritage Hill, just how the process worked, if it worked every year. And basically, from experience, it's a January meeting for all of the commissions, and that's when they go. So,
Okay. I'm fine with it. I just thought maybe since he wasn't here.
No, his question was more informative, really, than where he expressed a,
Okay.
specific opinion, for what it's worth.
Okay. So, are we consensus that we're going to move forward?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, so nominations for chair for for this year, 2014.
I'd like to nominate Vice Chair Rosenberg.
Thank you.
you.
Second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, good. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, Jim. All right, so we now have a new chair. Excellent. Now we have to do vice chair.
I'd like to nominate Commissioner Manning.
All right. Second.
I'll second that.
Thank you. All right. Are you accepting?
Sure.
Just want to make sure. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Excellent. So Steve Manning will be our new vice chair. And you know what? I'm going to have Commissioner Rosenberg take over as chair. I just think that'd be a good way to start off the year, start off January. Chair Rosenberg, are you ready for the switch?
I am ready.
The big switch.
Your third
I can
microphone in
move,
one meeting.
or we can do it from here, or would it be more appropriate that I sit in the middle? Or
Yeah, because you have the gavel.
is there anybody from Beacons that I could ask for the third move tonight to lug the stuff?
All right.
Thank you.
I'm declaring Chair Rosenberg as the chair.
The good Mike. Well, thank you all very much, and Happy New Year officially to everybody in the room, and may it hopefully be a phenomenally fantastic, positive year for everybody involved, which I have no doubt about, because contrary to everything for years coming out of this session has been positive. So without further ado, we're going to move on to item 3, which involves the construction of a swimming pool in a park soon to be determined. No. Director McGill on the off-leash dog park, please.
Sure. What we'll do is I'll give a brief overview of the report, then we'll open up for public comments, and we'll bring it back to the Commission for discussion and make motion. So, back in January, the City Council referred the issue of locating a dog park in Lake Forest to the Parks and Rec Commission. So, starting in March, the Commission developed criteria and reviewed existing parks as well as city-owned undeveloped properties for the potential of establishing an off-leash dog park. The Commission explored the possibility of locating a facility at Darren Park at one point, and determined that any suggestion of locating a dog park in an existing park would result in resistance from the neighbors. So therefore, the Commission arrived at the conclusion that the Whispering Hills and Normandale Park sites offered some potential. So tonight, staff is recommending several options that would include: you could direct staff to provide further analysis or conduct additional analysis. You could determine that there's no developed park sites in the city suitable for an off-leash dog park based on the adopted criteria. you could find that while there are no suitable sites at existing parks, there is potential to consider an off-leash dog park at city-owned undeveloped sites. You could recommend to the City Council that in considering input received from the community, the Whispering Hills and Normandale sites offer the best viable potential locations for an off-leash dog park at this time. So you could offer any one of those options, a combination of those options, or any other recommendations that you would like. So at this time, what I'd like to do is open it up for public comments.
Our first speaker is Kenton Betcher.
Thank you very much, and Happy New Year to everyone. I'm glad to be here. And a little bit of short notice, I didn't know about the meeting until I've been out of town until last night, and I didn't have time to send emails to people, so all the audience, they can hold their applause till the end. But just to reiterate, I went through the staff's recommendations and some of the things, and that you have a choice. And again, I'm here, I'm on the board of Whispering Hills, but and I dealt with that parcel since April 1985 is when I signed my sales contract and paid a huge premium to be located next to my park. But the letter essentially outlines some of the issues that we've talked about. And one of the things is, just like the Darren situation, the Whispering Hills situation, not only from a community standpoint, we've seen absolutely no support for a dog park at Whispering Hills. From our association standpoint, there's an attachment letter that was sent to the City Council because we wanted to actually have it in the record that it was a unanimous vote to not support any other use other than the Lake Forest Community Garden Park for that site. And so our 350 homeowners, we can contact them all and have them show up. I'm not sure that does anybody any good because they're repeating the same things. And again, we'll have that opportunity come this summer when it goes back before the City Council. But one of the few things I wanted to touch on, the two sites, Normandale and Whispering Hills, and I'm not as familiar with Normandale. As we said, they don't really meet all the requirements, the criteria that were set forth initially. It's a tough deal. It looks like they've almost been just included as default. After we looked at all the 9 parks, it's like, okay, what's left by default, even though they don't meet all the criteria. Secondly, again, there's been strong opposition from Whispering Hills, but also from the community for the garden park at that site. Then there was, in some of the analysis, it was the page where all the park sites were ranked, and it had Whispering Hills that there were no residents within 250 feet. My door is within 30 feet of the site. So that needs to be addressed. And then all along the ridge, there are, within 250 feet of the property line, there's 3 apartments and 1 set of apartment condominiums. The same issues that were raised from Darren residents about noise and safety issues and impact on the residents, and the interesting thing that they got was the impact on property values, and that's again another big issue. So we'd like to see, as your consideration, that if we want to go through the mechanisms for having everybody come in and address it and write letters to push it off a month, that would give us time to contact, or in your thought process as it's sent to the City Council, at least indicate, the opposition that you've received at this point.
Mr. Bedford, unfortunately, time is up.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
That's up to
I know. I was trying to read the letter.
Our next speaker is Mel Ratto.
Hello, my name is Mel Ratto, and I am a student of Lake Forest Elementary School. The reason I want the community garden park next to Whispering Hills is because my school learns about math, spelling, history, and science, but it would be nice to learn about the environment sometimes. So if we have a community garden park, classes can have field trips there. So that is why I want the community garden park and not the dog park. Thank you.
Thank you. Cool. Thank you.
That is it for our speakers.
That's all the speakers.
Commissioner comments? Okay, starting with Commissioner Workmeister.
First of all, thanks you guys for coming out and speaking, and you did a fantastic job, by the way, so good job. I think Whispering Hills, to me, originally I thought was a great option for a dog park, but I think that what we saw with Darren Park, with the opposition from the neighborhood, and now, with the garden park coming to light, I think that's kind of why we kind of push it aside along with the arena soccer. I'm at the point now where Normandale's always been a good option. I think why we were hesitant on it probably was because the cost was going to be a little bit more than one of our neighborhood parks. But I think whatever neighborhood park we go to, we're going to run into the same thing. Darren seemed to me, if any of the city parks were going to work, it was going to be Darren, because a lot of folks started using it for an off-leash park. And so with that being said, tonight I just, and Kent, thank you again for coming out. I think the garden park's a great idea. But what we're talking about is the dog park tonight. So my recommendation is that we propose to City Council that we move forward with Normandale for the dog park.
Aren't you glad she's letting you run
I know. That's all right. I've gotten used to that,
He's married now.
I'm married now, yeah. Vice Chairman Manning.
It's all right, Loretta. I like it, Loretta. Yeah, thank you very much. You did a wonderful job. And I'd like to invite more of her age groups to come to our meetings and speak in the future.
Yeah.
She did a terrific job. And I've been a big proponent of Normandale since from the get-go. I know there is some homes that perhaps would be impacted, but I think very minimally. The cost factor could potentially be a detriment to it. But I think, we looked at this hard and long and analyzed everything that we've got within the city limits that we could potentially do something at our existing sites, and that's just not going to work. So I think if I too would propose passing along that, hey, if I'd like to see something in Normandale if we're looking at doing that. I was out there again this past weekend, and there'd be some leveling to do and a few things, but I don't know how bad it would be, and I think it would be the coup de grace to add it to our sports park as something that's right down below to really create just a neat place to visit. So that's my 2 cents.
Commissioner Herron, use it or lose it.
Okay. Oh, you guys are too funny. I agree with my commissioners. We have spent a lot of time, effort, looking not only in Lake Forest, but researching. I know I went twice down to Dana Point to look at their dog parks and everywhere else. And I think Normandale at this point is probably one of our better choices, because clearly we did not feel that our existing parks could really manage have a dog park that it just wasn't going to work. So That's my recommendation. So there you go. I'll go back to my sitting chair.
Okay. Some commentary, first of all, on the document prepared, and Mr. Betcher and friends, you're not on the agenda from the standpoint of a typical dialogue or discourse, but you're quasi-included by mention of different proposals for different sites. So none of this is designed to be necessarily pro one against another, favoring one and saying we don't need the other. I agree with my fellow commissioners, and from day one could agree with the people who sit in these chairs the second and first and third Tuesday of every month, with one difference, that when something like this comes forth, my instant comment is not, let's do it, it's a no-brainer. Because, unfortunately, if we were to do things like that, either nothing would get done or nothing would last, unfortunately. The other understanding with the past 10 months that the dog park, and by adjunct, the community gardens have been in front of us in the scale of what does it take to get a project like this really done is a very short time. Talking about dog parks, our city to the south, or east, southeast, that always is touted as having all kinds of good things happening. They still don't have that park open. They've been at it for 10 years. So, think of the problem, and they have a lot of available property options, but again, then you have to make considerations. Addressing the dog park issue and the document specifically not by themselves, it's a very accurate chronicle of 8 meetings, and this being 9, that deals with the subject. And Gary, I mentioned to you earlier, found a couple typos and one misinterpreted statistic, which is very meaningless. But I'll just mention those to you, mark them for you offline later. The only other thing that is in here that maybe isn't 100% in the exact action order of how it happened, the people on this day as the commission actually at a very early time already said, we feel, that's long before Darren even came up, we feel we also in the hunt for Red October or the dog park or community garden or whatever, need to look at these undeveloped sites. Gee, maybe we could have saved ourselves 7 months and gone straight to that, but you don't learn if you don't go through the motion and go through the process and vet it and evaluate it, which I think we did a very, very good and very complete job. And like in anything, we listen to the residents. That's part of, I go back to my old mantra of we do it right in Lake Forest. That's part of why we do it right, in my personal opinion, is we listen to our residents. We listen to their input. We get them involved in actually creating and helping design the project. And none of this will be any different. Today, January 16th, 2014, we still have 3 projects of interest. I'll call them that without weighing them. And this is alphabetical order. We have an arena soccer interest. We have a community garden interest. That's A, C, and D. We have a dog park interest, all of which have support by a variety of proponents and factions. All of them have detractors, typically the detractors operating at the expense of the proponents. If I can knock that one down, then I'm going to get mine. And I think that creates a lost situation for a group in the community, an interest in the community, another thing that Lake Forest can put in its jewel of crowns that it offers, that people look far beyond what may be here now may consider when they're looking for a place to move or relocate because of their job, where are they going to live, or whatever. So I think, not trying to speak for my colleagues, but I think we need to look at a real big picture. Now, none of us are naive to realize that money plays a huge part in this. But if we go back a year ago, which is a short time comparatively, none of these three projects were even on the horizon. They were kind of floating out there, and then they came forth, and I think to some extent they moved into, from a standing start, very quickly into the 5-year plan. And a lot of us have been around for a number of years, and we've seen the progression of things. This gentleman's had children when he first got involved with this project called the sports park, and then started talking into my ear about trying to get involved in the city, the commission, for the same reason. His youngest son is now 42, but no, I'm just kidding. But it's taken close to 20 years. The result, opening hopefully in October sometime this year, will be a crown jewel. I think we have the opportunity, and I would like to propose the opportunity to really address all three of these projects by using the same methodology and by evaluating in that methodology Normandale and Whispering Hills. It's alphabetical, not saying one for one, one for the other. One might be able to house all three. It could. The goal is, in my opinion, to get the right things and hopefully in the right places. Steve made a comment which we have been bringing forward since the commission, not only staff proposed, like I said before, looking at the undeveloped properties, is Normandale gives the opportunity for the city to have a complete, call it recreation complex for families. Not only sports, but a lot of other things as well that can attract a family, and maybe part of the family goes to the garden, if it's there. Some are playing baseball, some are a craft activity, some are walking a dog or whatever. It's almost 11 acres. There's a big chunk of dollars involved in making it level and usable. There's a big chunk in, if it was just Whispering Hills, how much, can be usable. We were presented in this report with 4 options, and let me come back to them so I don't. 4 options at the end here. Where do we go from here, kind of? Instead of bookmarking it, I just fold it back up. But give me a second. I will find it. Right below, above where the signature is. Directing staff to produce further analysis or conduct initial analysis. Okay, if we keep it on what we did before, which was exhaustive, but good, then people can look and say, yeah, they're getting into analysis paralysis. They're now taking the same numbers, the same figures, they're trying to tweak it, and the point that keeps cropping up through not only the report but comments from people is that there is not one site, even that we considered that met 100% of all of the criteria we tried to establish. We were opportunistic, we were idealistic, we want to do the best thing. If we can find something that, and we got 10 bullet points that we really feel strongly, and we got one that can do 10, hey, that's, move the people away, eminent domain, whatever. But that's not reality either. So that one is basically out. I think number 2, based on the activity of 8 months, the determination has been made that of the developed sites, and I will qualify that by saying park sites in the city suitable for an off-leash dog park, there are none. I'm not going to go as far as say if there is a developed site that somebody says, here, take this building, I will tear it down for you, I will plant grass, you can have it for a dog park, and it's now in an industrial area. I'm sure we would accept that gratefully and go from there, but that probably is not going to happen, at least not in the foreseeable lifetime. So we're coming to bullet number 3, agreeing with the preamble to that. The potential is there to consider locating the off-leash dog park at city-owned undeveloped site, which are 2.5 of them. There's the Normandale, the Lion, and then there's some issues with a piece of property next to Normandale that could maybe augment it, but there's a process involved at this point that probably is not even worth exploring until we get to the point where Normandale gets the attention to include the attention and the spotlight of money, of doing it. And in this whole process, number 4 kind of becomes a moot point, because you're going to do that to make a recommendation to the council that the Whispering Hills site and the Normandale site, the undeveloped property, let's go back to bullet 3 and not even categorize them, offer the best potential locations for anything that we really are going to do, if we can qualify it as that. And what needs to be done, and I will try to craft that after about 2 more sentences into a motion that says that our direction to staff and inclusion in the recommendation to the council is that consideration be given, and I'm going to try to start it right now, that consideration be given to development of these various projects at the undeveloped sites owned by the city, and that the appropriate cost estimation be done to determine the feasibility of, this doesn't sound good, the feasibility of doing it, but of making it happen and advancing it in the financial cycle that the city goes by. Timing for which is great, because mid-year, mid-fiscal year, we're right there, and typically we have this meeting around March, that we all sit, the commissions and the council sit together and make some decisions, and that's how it got into the 5-year plan in the first place. So if somebody maybe could help me craft that into 2 sentences instead of 4, unless somebody wants to have some discussion on it.
Yeah, I'd like to just say something. So, and just so I understand, I guess, I don't know how to say this without sounding, I can't support leaving Whispering Hills on the table for the dog park. And I just think that the reason that I say that is, I think we're going to get stalled again, and I think we're going to come up with a lot of opposition again. I think these great people have come out. I think the soccer folks are going to come out. I would prefer myself that we walk away and say, hey, City Council, we believe that right now of the property available, that to me anyway, Normandale is our best option, because we're not seeing opposition there. Now we might. There is a neighborhood. But I think that the reality is we will see opposition to Whispering Hills, and it'll be the garden folks, it'll be the soccer folks, and it'll also be the neighborhood and the HOA up there, because I think, as I said before, what we saw at Darren was pretty strong objection. I was very surprised. You always expect some opposition, but the level of opposition that we saw certainly didn't reflect the emails we received, and so for that reason, I think that by putting Whispering Hills back out there, it just becomes, it takes away from our ability to build the dog park, and so from that perspective, I can only support proposing Normandale. I mean, that's just my opinion on it, but I think that Whispering Hills is kind of a hot topic, and I would prefer that, for me personally, we remove it from the dog park discussion and really focus on finding a location, because that's what we're tasked with at this point.
Which is, and it's all well said. My comment did not specifically, therefore, mention any specific project with a specific site. But I think we're at the stage now, we need to look at all of what we have, and I think during that process, which will involve, as it typically does, public feedback and reaching out to the community, that's always been a stage of kind of how we do things. The water will find its own level there. And we need to look at, we know what we want. There are 3 things, call it that, on the table, we have land. We're not saying, hey, we got to put a dog park at that one only. We got to put a community garden at that one only, and arena soccer at this one. One to the left, one to the right, or anything like that. We don't have, at least not I don't have, in my opinion, enough information on those two sites. And remember, we're looking at two sites that a lot of it goes kind of like this, up the hill. And what's it going to cost to grade it? What's it going to cost to irrigate it, to drain it, to pave it, to do all of that? It might be that it comes back to the point that, well, wow, that number's about as big as our whole annual budget. That ain't going to happen. But that's not our decision to make. Our decision is to make good recommendations based on having data. We almost need the same level of data, if I can call it that we had for all of the other sites we considered, visited, debated, etc., for these two properties. I feel personally strongly enough about the idea of a community garden. I don't want to put all the eggs in one basket and say dog park and dog park here, and we focus our effort on that, and then financially or for some reason the decision made, well, that's obviously more important, so we won't consider this for now, et cetera, et cetera. I personally just don't think we're really there yet. Do I disagree with there might be one site better than another? No, not at all. I don't disagree with that. But I guess I would like I'm going to try to craft it, motion to be something to the effect that the city-owned undeveloped sites, and any of you can help me, please. If you,
Can I have a couple comments first?
yeah, please, sure.
I guess I'm looking at the agenda item that we've got before us, and I see it as one situation, not as three. We have the community garden folks here tonight offering their input in regards to it, but that's not what we're really here talking about.
Buy that too.
From my standpoint, and I don't know if Normandale or Whispering Hills or some spot unknown is the perfect spot for the garden park. I think the dog park is what we're talking about as far as the ability to come up with a solution to look at. We've looked at every site within the city, every site possible that we could remotely come up with to do something as far as a dog park is related. We came back to two sites that are undeveloped because that seemed to make the most sense. Whether or not, and my question is actually going to be to you, Gary, too, as far as it goes. Can we, I agree there may be some Whispering Hills opposition. There's going to be Normandale Heights opposition, too, because I live in that neighborhood as well, too, and I'd imagine that there could be something in that related. So I think we're going to deal with that no matter what we do. And to me, if these are the last two sites that we've got, are we going to come back with our recommendation, goes before City Council, say, we think we have a couple of spots that we could consider doing a dog park, these are the two, and here's the story as to why one or the other would work? And are we, at that point, are we going to start looking at costs associated with doing that and things, or that's where I'm...
No. What we do is you just make a recommendation on the location. That's what you were asked to do. Then if there's any further study they want to do, then they direct staff to go ahead and get cost estimates or whatever. But no matter what you put at Normandale, you're going to have to grade it.
Right.
So the cost really, no matter what facilities you put in there, it's
And actually,
grading
possibly, perhaps even a dog park might be the least expensive from that standpoint, too, because you're just going to grade it out and put a few things down, too, so, okay.
To dovetail, if I can, on your comment, I think in the end run it makes it simpler. Maybe I'm trying to do too much to find a home for everybody, and true, this does relate to 26 pages worth to the dog park itself. Can we just then, before going any further at this point, looking at dog park and dog park only, make the recommendation that, in fact, is encompassed in bullet item number 4 here. Recommend the City Council that considering input received from the community, since we've said the undeveloped sites are the only ones left, that they offer the best viable potential locations, and then take it from there based on studies, if they so agree.
if that's the motion you want to make.
No, I mean, would that be the proper process then, to do that?
We need a recommendation and a motion.
I mean,
we can take that word for word right from there, if that's what you prefer.
You know, I think we need to give them a spot. I think it's too general, and I know I keep harping on this, but I mean, I would put a motion on the table that we recommend Normandale, then they go through the evaluation process. I just, you know, I think, you know, we're obviously, you know, we're getting a lot of pressure to do that. That doesn't bother me as much. What bothers me is, I'm trying to look at the agenda item. I think Steve kind of rang true to me when I was listening to him speak there, too. And Jim, I do agree with you. We're going to have to deal with the garden park and the soccer folks.
I agree.
I think, though, but when Steve said that, hey, we have an agenda item, you know, we've gone through all these parks. To me, not the only, but the most reasonable option at this point, if you were to ask me, I would say that you know, I would recommend to the city council that, hey, we've gone through all these parks, and I hope that they earnestly share, you know, what we've gone through, because there's been some time, but we've spent a lot of hours away from the dais at these parks evaluating them, and to me, I think we need to give them a specific location, and right now I don't see a better alternative than Normandale, and so, you know, my proposal would be that we move forward and propose to City Council that, hey, we've gone through all the parks, we've gone through all the, you know, we've listened to the public, and what we've walked away from this is we believe that Normandale right now is our best option, and then they can set forth the plan and set the budget. So I guess that would be the proposal I'd want to make, but I don't want to jump over Jim. I don't know what the rules are on that, and kind of go from there.
No, as I said, I'm trying to kill three birds with one stone. I'm trying to be ambitious, and but I can very easily say, you know, that, I mean, I personally would like to let them look at both sides, because I know there's cost factors involved, and you know, that those are their decisions, and based on what they direct staff to furnish them, we can look at it. But if they want to do one over the other. So I was going to just leave it as general as saying, as the fourth bullet is written, you know, based on the no available, make 3 and 4, and in fact the motion almost verbatim, that recommend the city council considering the input that the 2 undeveloped sites offer the best. But if you want to condense it to one, you know, Loretta, input? Okay, back to your mic.
I think we do need to put bullet item number 3, just so that way they know we've looked at everything. I think they know that. And also include in our motion that, you know, this is in the 5-year plan, this is why we're trying to go forward with this. And my only, like, along with Jeff, I'm wondering if we should narrow it down to Normandale. And I understand, Jim, what you're saying about keeping it open to both to review. So there you go. There's.
I'll offer a couple more cents, too. My only concern is, and I fully contend that Normandale's the site that I'd want to see move forward, without a doubt. Whispering Hills, regardless, and anything else that's available, I think it's a great location. I think it's a perfect spot for what we'd ultimately to call the crown jewel of everything that we've got the city. My only fear is if we say Normandale, do we then, and the council says over time, yeah, it's a bad idea, and then we're back to square one. But I guess, but I guess that's going to happen no matter what, right?
Yeah. Well, they referred it back to you to make a recommendation. It sounds like you've kind of arrived at Normandale as your recommendation. If they want to consider Whispering Hills or any other options, they'll do that.
It's up to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So you want to...
I would, in that case, like to maybe propose the motion. I'm not sure if we really need to mention it's in the 5-year plan, because that's fact already. No, but it's in there. I mean, that bullets 3 and bullets 4 be combined into good English, and just the saying that the Normandale site offers the best viable potential location for an off-leash dog park at this time.
So you're making the motion.
I'm making that motion.
I'll second it. You guys got that motion, right? Good luck.
Any other discussion? No. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Close to home would be the Steve Manning Memorial Dog Park, for sure. You know, item number 4, our December recreation support. Again, December is typically a holiday month for people and do that, and kind of hoping maybe we'll burn less paper, but not in Lake Forest. Fabulous report. Please elucidate on it.
Chair Rosenberg and Commissioners, I'm going to give you highlights for the month of December Recreation Report. I do remember, though, when our December report was larger than our summer report.
Yeah, you're right.
So I'm glad it's still large, but so the highlights of the month are Northport Calling. We had 100 phone calls over the 3 days during December 3rd through 5th, and I usually am here for the very beginning of those phone calls and love hearing the part that I hear. The commissioners or the other volunteers talking to the kids. It's great. And I was put on here special thanks to Commissioner Rosenberg for donating his time to this program. The other highlight for the month of December is Winter Break Adventure Camp. We had 20 teens participate in the holiday break camp. That number has definitely gone up. Our teen programs are growing for all of our camp programs as well. They had the normal games, crafts, snacks, and activities. They also went to Knott's Berry Farm, Pump It Up, and the Ice Palace, and bowling. The other highlight for the month of December is the 10-year anniversary and holiday shoe giveaway for the Etney Skate Park of Lake Forest. And, again, 10 years. Wow.
Yeah, way to go.
Wow, wow, wow. So the day was filled with so many different events. They had the annual holiday shoe giveaway. Once again, that's something that they do every year. They give away 400 pairs of shoes to lucky kids who come to the park that day. That's always a good one to watch when it's going on and to take part in if you can. There was 2 presentations. There was one from Pierre to the city. The city was given a bronzed Etney shoe, and also a great photo of Ryan Scheckler skating at the park that's sitting in my office right now. That's about the size of the other one that we have to put down here. And the bronze shoe, it should be in our showcase by now. The city
We sold it.
presented Pierre with a plaque highlighting the 10-year anniversary mural painted on the wall outside of the park, or inside the park. Have you seen the mural yet?
Yes.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very, very nice. And a certificate of accommodation. And then throughout the rest of the day, there were our normal skateboard contest, pro skaters there, and there was free tacos served to everybody. And there was about 1,000 people in attendance off and on throughout the day. And Etnies donated $1,000 in gift cards for the winners of the skateboard competition, which is really nice for them to go ahead and do that. The last thing highlighting for the month of December is the Kids Factory Canned Food Drive. That started in November and went through December, and they donated about almost 2,000 cans of food to the South County Outreach Food Bank. And I just have a couple of reminders from our calendar. Snowfest, January 25th is coming up quite quickly, and resident registration for spring programs begins February 11th, and non-resident begins February 18th. Yeah. One of the highlights in the spring leisure times, we're always adding new things, and there's a new business in town that teaches swim lessons, so we will now have swim lessons.
Where?
Yes. It's off of,
Carla, do you know where the swim school is?
is it up in Foothill?
I think it is. There is one up in Foothills.
Yeah.
It's across from the community.
So where we
Yeah.
go, quite often go out and reach out to businesses, and so we will now be offering swim lessons as part of our contract classes. Isn't that great? Yes. So that's my report for the month of December. If you have any questions, I'd be very happy to answer them for you.
Steve?
Great report.
Jeff?
Busy month.
Jeff, anything?
Oh, that's great.
Thank you for the compliment on the North Pole calling. The truth is that at heart I'm about 4.5 years old. And that's promotion. My wife told me I gained a year. But doing that, and there were a number of years where I kind of wanted to do it, didn't work schedule-wise. That's free now. It's like a huge thrill.
Yeah.
It's like having your own kid who's now 26 and talks funny at times, being small again, and dealing with him, and it's fun. The same reason we come to Breakfast with Santa, A question on that, if I may. Again, great production and great people that are brought in to put it on. Our attendance this year was a lot lower
For Breakfast with Santa?
for the brunch
Oh,
part.
for the brunch with
Yeah.
Santa.
Last year, I remember the breakfast was full, the brunch was full, pretty much full. How do we advertise it through only like the?
Our normal advertising for special events is the Leisure Times, the leaflet, we put it
Yeah,
on the city
I know that.
website. We also do outreach through our Facebook page. We do some Twitter and some e-blast. So I can honestly say from myself, Christmas seemed to come so quickly this year because Thanksgiving was so late that I think that event, which is always the first Saturday of December, might have got a little lost in that crazy timeline. But the attendance was a little bit lower this year.
Just a thought. Again, throw it out if it doesn't make any sense in the bigger scheme of things. But to do maybe some, I want to call it direct advertising to maybe like some of the Montessori schools in the city, with some pre-Christmas event for all the stuff that we do. The events at Heritage Hill, kind of like a Christmas calendar of events that they can put those kids back. That's a very appealing age for all of these things. And, maybe just, again, a little different way to kind of get the word out. The other question, having gone to the Etney's 10th anniversary thing as well, and watching people do things to their body that I thought you could only do with either rubber or spandex. Noticing the crowd count here, attendance 295, was there like a digit missing, or because that place was packed? I mean, there was walled.
You're looking on the rec report itself?
Yeah, I'm looking on the rec report, and I kind of I was curious. I figured 500-600.
Oh, I have for the over the course of the day 1,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the report?
Yeah, in the long where the Etney Skate Park attendance is the long thing.
Oh, okay. So for that particular day, that was skaters coming in and out of the park.
Gotcha.
That wasn't
People.
people.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So 1,000 people, spectators coming there, shoes.
So-
The just.
A heck of a number to have
Yeah.
almost 300 skaters
Yeah.
in there. Everybody looked like a skater, Have boards whether they used them or not.
Jim, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
And that was a great question about the Montessori. I know we've talked in the past about sending, maybe somehow working with the Saddleback Valley Unified School District, and have we had any success with that? Because it'd be great, for now Snowfest will sell out, but to have a flyer at the schools for the kids, and I know the school district's hard to deal with sometimes.
The school district has limited
Yeah, it's done.
the amount of flyers that we can give out, but what we do end up doing is we do give flyers to the kids' factory programs that are after school.
Okay.
And for instance, at some of the schools, you're getting 200 or 300 kids that are getting that flyer directly. The school district no longer allows us to do what I did for many, many years, and this school has 5 fifth grade classes that have 20 each. So
Yeah.
Now what you have to do is you send them a flyer, a PDF, and they post it on
Their website.
their website. So
Which isn't that
yeah,
effective,
but
right?
we are fortunate that we at least get to now still go through the Kids Factory programs and put the flyers out in that context.
What about
Yes.
like what some of the leagues like AYSO or Little League does, having some banners made, and you can get them, I think, where you can kind of change the date, but you know, putting the banners up on the fences at the school, I mean, for some of these big events, and I don't think we have a problem selling out events, but I do think, to Jim's point, is I think there's a lot of great things that we do in the city, and not everybody knows about it
Yeah.
until after the fact,
Right,
you know,
after the fact.
and so I'm just trying to think outside the box, but I think if there's a way, you know, the banners, I know they cost maybe a couple $100 to do, but because I know the principals will let you put those up, you know, and so, because we did that for football, for baseball, and soccer. We've done it for all of them, and we get a lot of response. And even if you just put a thing, say, like a banner that says Snowfest coming up, check the Lake Forest
Yeah.
website and go www. You know what I mean? That way.
Oh no, that's a great idea. We've worked with, you're right, working with the individual principals, you can go on that. Which, in all honesty, it's, if you're looking green at the green factor as well, putting a banner up is then doing hundreds of flyers. Definitely works better, but working with the principals is the key to that.
Yeah, and the principals are pretty, you know, I've got to know them just from using all their fields.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they'll do it. And, you know, as long as you put them up and take them down. But like I said, you don't even need to put dates on them now that I think about it.
Right.
Just refer them to the city website. And,
Exactly.
And
Right.
I don't know if that's a cost we can incur. It's not that big
No,
of a
but
cost.
that's a good one. Well, I know, we're writing our notes for that.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
You can, in about a year, add to that, there will be this facility with lots of ball field fences.
Exactly.
Yeah, and
We can advertise ourselves
Exactly.
as opposed
Right,
to Earl
right.
Scheib or whoever, you know, so Earl can make a donation to the city. So, Vicki, great report. Have a motion to receive and file, please. Thank you. Moved and
yes.
seconded. Great report. Another great month. Director McGill.
Yeah, I just described for you what's on the screens here as far as the capital report. There's Baker Ranch Park right off Rancho and Bake right over here. It's a developer-built park.
See that place? It's unbelievable. No, I can't.
Yeah, oh, it's absolutely unbelievable.
It's a-
Yeah, and they really.
Ben Hill.
They didn't mess around.
No.
The grass went in a couple weeks ago, so that's with this Baker Ranch Model Homes preview on February 8th. You'll be able to go up there and look around. That's what they wanted it ready for. Yeah, so it's a developer-built park that will be turned over to the city. So they'll open it on February 8th for a preview, then they'll close it because it's the 90-day or so maintenance period. Then eventually they'll turn it over to the city. When they do that, we'll have a ceremony where the developer turns the park over to the city. So that should be later this spring. Sports parks coming along fine. All the ball fields, all the baseball fields, softball diamonds are fully graded, so those are complete. This one shows you the stone that's applied to the outside of the sports park. That's the computer lab with the monitor that goes on the wall there. This is the view from the great lawn or the common area. In the back, that'll be the platform that you put on your bands and special events out to it. Tamarisk Park, just about complete. You can see there's the bollard lights going around. The play equipment is in. The vac stuff's in. All the grading and all new irrigation, all the flat work was completed a few weeks ago, and they'll be open in that park. I don't know if we'll be in time for the beginning of Phony. It depends on how the grass goes. As soon as we can get them out there, we will. But we want to maintain, if we let them out too early, it'll be a maintenance problem later. But yeah, the Baker Ranch Park, I agree on it. It's beautiful park, and the location is outstanding. When you're standing up there, you can see Catalina. It's probably the best property on the Baker Ranch development that they built this park on. You get an idea there of what it looks like. So I would encourage everybody, mark a calendar February 8th, and if you want to go over before then, just let me know, and I'd be happy to take you there. That's my update for today.
Did you also want to mention the fact that the fence at Tamarisk the backstop may be in the Guinness Book of World Records for height? Or?
You know, it's pretty good-sized backstop over there, but I was over off Shady Canyon, and they have a ball field there, and I want to say it's just about the size of that
wow.
one. It's college level, and one of the reasons is you're right next to the basketball court, so for safety, and it's pony. It's your older kids, so it's a little bit bigger backstop than you'll see at any of the other parks in the city.
Yeah, bigger kids, bigger,
And it's close to,
greater chance for that ball.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's, I'm pleased that it ended up where it did. It's in the back of the park, so it really doesn't, it's not visually intimidating, where if we would have had it in the front, I really think it would have spoiled the view of the park, but back in the back corner, it's really, it's fine. It's just big, yeah, it's really big. There it is. I mean, that's a big backstop. That's a big truck, and then
Yeah.
you can see.
Cement mixer, yeah.
Yeah. Basketball court, they just haven't put up the basketball backboards and the nets. 2 gazebos, restroom, great playground, all really high-end. When they worked with the developer, they asked them to look at our parks and provide us something similar to the quality that we had, and they've definitely done that. So we're really pleased with the way that it's turned out.
Thank you, sir. Okay, coming up to the wind-up. I will not start with you first, no. I will if you want to.
It's time for commissioner comments. So
Right.
it's time for me to move to my
Next
speaking chair.
Oh, yes, you're speaking chair.
Anyway,
You're speaking chair.
my speaking, see, I'm so good I have to choose. Sorry. Anyway, Happy New Year. Looking forward to CPRS conference. It's going to be here before we know it.
Yep.
And let's see. Oh, and Gary, thank you for the information on the senior advisory board. I appreciate that. And the holiday lights that we did along El Toro Road, I thought they were spectacular this holiday season. I always look forward to going, oh, El Toro Road looks so nice. So that's it. Do we need help, volunteers for Snowfest? I think I can do it. Are you good? Or I'll check with Ron.
I didn't know if you knew. Ron was in the hospital. He had gallbladder surgery, but he's fine. I mean, they do it the way they. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I went to visit him. I thought he'd be like laying down or something, and he was. Yeah, he seems fine. So he's supposed to be back next week. So he's been off of work for about a week and a half, 2 weeks, but he's expected back next week. What they do these days? Yeah, the arthroscopy.
Yeah.
It was really amazing to me because I visited him the next day, and he was up walking around talking, just like I thought maybe he was faking, but I don't think so.
Never know.
You are. Well, okay. When you talk to him, tell him best wishes for a speedy recovery, but safe recovery. Okay. Anyway, so I'm looking forward. I'll check in, and I think I can help with Snowfest. And I guess that's about it. I know there's things coming up. There's always something brewing with us. But thank you to staff. Always doing a great job. So thank you.
Commissioner Workmeister, who's in both his sitting and speaking chair, dual chair.
I don't know that I could manage both, so. To echo Loretta, I'm happy to help with Snowfest because we'll go. My son broke his arm, so he won't be participating. But it's his own fault. He fell down, So. Yeah, no, it was. Anyway, we'll talk about it later. But no, I think it was good. I appreciate the work on the dog park. As far as Village Pond Park. What's our next step with that? I think we've settled on a plan, so what do we do next for that? What is the next step with that?
Well, what will happen is we'll eventually get to the city council with that conceptual plan.
Okay.
But they're also working on the ordinance. There was the wildlife ordinance. We're also working with the HOA. Now that we have a conceptual plan, we want to meet with them and especially talk about the filtration system for the pond. That was something that That's between us and them, and it wasn't part of the design
Right.
process. So we're meeting with them, and we also need to renew the agreement that we had. I forget how old it is now, but they want to work at that. Yeah,
pretty old,
so
yeah.
there's a number of different components, and we're also working with the attorneys on the title report and things like that. So there's a lot of things that will be brought together, but we're moving them all forward. It's taken a little longer because of, we want to make sure we include the HOA in any design and anything that affects the filtration system, because the way the current agreement is written, they're responsible for the water quality, we're responsible for the park. I think we've come up with a design that will discourage waterfowl, but we also now have to look at the pond and what we need to do to that.
Right.
So it'll move forward, but there's a lot of different components to that one.
Okay.
It's a lot more complicated than just the design, but the design is
But I mean, the design's
Yeah.
pretty much good to go. So we
correct,
could-
and that's
okay.
been shared with City Council.
Okay.
It's on our website. It's been sent to the residents and our email blast. So we'll be issuing an update very soon to the residents that lets them know what's going on, because they're curious as well.
Okay. So from our perspective, though, we've done what we need to do up to
For the
this
time,
point. Then.
yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay, great. And I guess that's and I didn't even say a Happy New Year to everyone too. It's weird to think that it's New Year. Doesn't I don't know. It's kind of. It feels like, and great recreation report, and that's really all I have for tonight. I think it was good. Thank you.
Chairman?
Thank you very much. Just a couple things real quick. The Baker Ranch thing blows me away. I'm so impressed by the developer to be doing that, because they're months away from putting people into houses up there. And for them to have all that facility done and up and running, and I mean, kudos to them, a great marketing tool, because that'll help sell the houses as far as that goes too. But to have that done, I don't know how many times you talk about properties that houses got built, a park's coming, we'll do it, and it doesn't come, or it comes years and years later. So kudos to them for making sure that happened the way that it did. So that's pretty exciting. And thanks for the updates. Thanks for the photos too. These are great. Get to see the park develop and the up close look and to seeing what's going on. It is, boy, it's taking shape, and it's just so much fun. I mean, that's so cool to me to see that, the rock structure and stuff. So thank you for those. Those are great. I appreciate the pictures. And I just wanted to end my comments by thanking Loretta for her year as our mayor. Park and Rec mayor. As long as I've done this and been involved with the city, I don't know if there's anybody in a volunteer position that is more passionate and more caring than you, and I mean that with all sincerity. We see it every day from any of your comments, any of your direction, how much you love being a part of the city and helping everything that you do, and I thank you for that passion. I think we all wish I could share a little bit more of it at times, because it's just so wonderful to see, and thank you for your leadership and guidance this past year.
Thank you, Dave.
Wait for a second. Let me again begin with a Happy New Year to all, and in case I haven't mentioned it enough times, hopefully, and to dovetail on Steve's comments regarding Loretta. Great year. Thank you for leading us. Thank you for being part of our group for a long time and everything. Contribute not only to this, but all the other things involved with the city. And from a personal standpoint, and I know I'm echoing everybody in this room by saying the same thing, best wishes for a just really happy, healthy, successful 2014 from the heart, okay? And to add to that, I think for everybody else, thank you for your friendship, too. That's a very, very meaningful thing. So, okay, did you want mine, too, or? Okay. A couple of other comments. I think the year we've just walked out of was a year of a huge number of achievements. And I think in looking at 2014, what's ahead of us, we'll probably be able to outdo that, just with all of the things that are, so to speak, in the kitchen and on the plate. And I think we all, as a group, look forward to that, especially October, Sports Park. That when that happens, that'll be, for a number of people, dreams come true, and dreams do happen that they can come true. And but yeah, a lot of things along the way. A quick question, not comment on a lot of things because they were holiday related that got involved in. They were all, again, like always fun. You walk away feeling really, good about the things we do for our residents. A question, Vicki. At the last meeting, we Steve and I had kind of volunteered Healthy Cities, and good. Give a couple of days of date ahead of time. Okay, cool.
Invites, and then just let me know
Yeah,
what
okay.
works for you,
We
and
can
we'll sit
maybe-
down and go through that report again and kind of move forward from there.
Sit down and
Yeah.
a sandwich might appear or something.
It's a good time with the new year to start that. Oh,
Wow.
yeah, of course we'll have snacks.
Yeah. Snacks.
I like to bake. I'll probably bake for you.
Snacks. Quickly to comment on another thing that we're doing that, even though some don't believe it, it's very alive and well. It has a new motto, it's for the good of the cause, and that is our adoption process for the Marine Corps detachment that is based at Camp Pendleton, to include being deployed overseas as well. We had our typically monthly type meeting, and everybody's been involved, decided it was time to get a little bit more formal with it, and I wanted to do things like we did with the Snow Fest with them, and just, a whole bunch of things, and maybe I said the wrong words. I wound up walking out of there as the chair for the thing, so. But it's a worthy cause. I mean, having served and remembering back then and when, it's a very faint memory, but I still recall some of the people. I mean, I was not much older than them, but I was supposed to be the guy that they were going to follow into battle and all that good stuff. Luckily, we never got sent, so it would have been probably a different end. But we got 61 of them, 61 wristbands sold for Snowfest. Among other good things, we have a date set as of this time for the formal adoption ceremony, which is May 3rd. The location is El Toro High School, the stadium, and parking lot and surrounding area, which is an excellent venue, and major kudos for that happening is to Director Dragon Slayer over there, who vanquished the, as I called them, the demons of the district, excuse me, from a standpoint of the fee structure and things like that, because all of this comes from the good thing of fundraising. And we've moved forward with probably in about a week or so having the vehicle to collect monies officially and all this good stuff. I'm going to go down Wednesday of next week and meet with them, and the goal is to put together an annual calendar for things we can do for them, things they can help us with or participate in, and looking forward to basically a very fun relationship with them. They seem like great people to work with, and the people on the committee are all kind of motivated. A lot of them are what's the right word? It's not an ex-Marine. You're never an ex-Marine. I found that out. I got hit right behind the ear when I said that one time. But they served they were on active duty at a former date. Maybe that's the right way to put it. But, great opportunity. And they've already said they will have opportunities for the people from the city to come on the camp and to see things and do things. So we'll make everybody aware and hope you come. And unless there's any further business, I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We stand adjourned. Thank you.